episode of Nothing But Lit Podcast. It is Wednesday, which means it's podcast night. Warren, you got the baby asleep?
She's asleep. I think the crying died down about 10 seconds ago, so we're on easy street. Yeah. Any parent that's watching knows whenever the kid goes to sleep, a whole level of relaxation kicks in and a whole level of anxiety just waiting to hear them wake up and start it all over again. But we're good. We're ready. I'm
Awesome.
stoked. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. And we got a new face on the podcast tonight. Welcome, Kaleem. Kaleem, what is up? Where are you coming from? Tell us what you do.
Hey guys, first and foremost, thanks for having me on. I'm out of Nashville right now. I'm a personal trainer. I focus on men specifically and mostly virtual personal training. Also do some real estate investing on the side, and that's me in a T.
All right. Jack of all trades. Like
It's
it.
nice to have that passive income, and then because I'm sure clients, does that jump around? How many clients are you running with nowadays?
Right now, I have about 20 virtually, and I have one in person, and I focus on virtual, so that's kind of where all my energy goes towards.
How
Nice,
do
nice.
you...
Is that building out
Yeah.
workout plans, meal plans? How do you help them?
Yeah, so it's all online. So I have my own platform through an app, and it's all programming that I create for them, and then I also give them workout plans as well. They also have the ability to track their macros on that app as well. So yeah, just it's like the full service weekly calls where we go over where they're at, where they should be, what they could do better, ask me any kind of questions, and so on and so forth.
That's nice. It's harder and it can be intimidating sometimes going to a gym and being in that environment where people are pumping and trying to start new, right? Because you're coming in, you got everybody that's fit all over the place, and then you show up and you're like, hey guys, I need help over here. So it's kind of nice to give them that ability to like have more of an informal setup online. It's not this intimidating environment. I think that's great.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think for me, I'm somebody who's been in the gym my whole life. So I never really understood that until I started personal training. And then people would tell me they would have gym anxiety. And I was like, oh, this is a real thing. You just have to come from a space and let them know everybody starts somewhere. And it's not like I woke up and looked the way I look. This is like 20 years of nonstop work. So it's pretty funny.
Oh, I know. Whenever I'm going in and I'm picking up the 15-pound weights to start curling, they look pretty small in your hands whenever you're starting off. You're like you said, you got to start off somewhere. So I love it. I love it. So obviously you're on a golf podcast, so we're wanting to know. We talk all things golf. Obviously, in my world, and I think a lot of people that listen, they work in offices, right? We're kind of crunched. We're crunched over. It's at a desk. I mean, I have my watch and it tells me to stand up every hour. Like that's how much exercise get in. So one thing that I was kind of interested in is in my field, especially like what's a good idea? What's some good workouts you can do at your desk that maybe aren't even specifically golf related, but just to get the blood flowing, some exercise. So then whenever you're out there on the course, you're not gasping for air by hole three when you're walking.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the typical stuff. Push-ups are always going to be great. Air squats are good. I would say lunges are also going to be a good one. Um, I mean, if you have access to a pull-up bar, I remember when I was in the corporate world, I always had a pull-up bar at the door into my office. So I would crank some pull-ups when I did have the time. Besides that, stretching is always going to be great. Your typical hamstring stretch is great. And if you have time to go for a walk, a 5-10 minute walk around the office, as many walks as you can go on, is always going to be one of the best moves you can do.
I think that's like 99% of my workout is I get on the phone when I'm in my office. I'm not sure if anybody else this way. I'm a pacer. So I go back and forth around my desk all day long, and that's about the exercise I get. But I mean, talking about your stretching thing, I mean, Alice, you probably know more because you're more flexible. And I think that's huge in the golfing world, right? The more flexibility, the further you can turn, that is all speed, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I would say a good stretch for that kind of stuff. It's definitely like your typical like lizard stretch. Always going to be a good one if you guys have any idea what that is. Um,
Nope. What
yeah.
is that?
So like yeah, so a lizard stretch is basically one leg, you're almost like in a lunge position,
Yeah.
but the back leg is extended backwards, front leg is in a lunge position, and then you can hold that. That's great on the hips. But the best part about it is when you start adding that rotation, which is where you're gonna basically slide your shoulder under your leg and then bring it back up and rotate your chest up and arm up and look up as well. So those are always great.
Yeah, it sounds good because rotations biggest one of the biggest
Yeah.
keys in generating power and really just getting in the right position to be able to swing fast and not hurt yourself. And now another question I know I had is I've battled back issues, throwing my back out. I know our last trip we went on last year, I was walking around like a 65-year-old man because I was baling hay and threw a back out. So my thoughts are you're sprinting to the course, right? If you're like me, you're showing up 5 minutes before the tee time. You got 2 minutes to stretch. What to me the most important thing is loosen up the back. What's the best way to go? Obviously, the lizard stretch might be the thing, but what else is out there that you can really work on to make sure you don't hurt yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like your hamstring stretch as well is always going to feel nice on the lower back, kind of get you there. That's always going to be one of my favorites for the back. I always like to kind of, even when I go up from the hamstring stretch, I like to start leaning back a little bit, kind of like as far back as you can go. I would say those are going to be some really good ones, and just kind of inviting movement into the back. So if you can easily just probably take your clubs, put them on your shoulder and then just kind of like start moving side to side like this. That's always gonna, and as much movement as you can invite into like that spinal area to just kind of loosen it up. Those are gonna be probably my top three.
Yeah. What and this is obviously never going to work for me showing up 5 minutes before the tee time. But what would you say you probably want? How much time do you think you should probably spend stretching before you're trying to do like a high impact exercise? Like crank. To me, I get up there and try to crank the driver 300 yards on the
Right.
first swing. Right. It's the most aggressive swing, and I'm ice cold. How much time probably should you be out there for?
Oh man, I would say 15 minutes is gonna kind of be the bare, kind of where you want to sit at. I always spend at least 5 to 10 just kind of warming up, and then another five just stretching all the areas that I know. Whatever kind of work I'm getting in, I make sure I focus on that area for at least 5 minutes.
Warbird, you better adjust your schedule.
I know it's like you always want to be there early, but at the same time, it's always like I'm gonna get out here and then I'm gonna stupidly crank it. And like I've played basketball and stuff in my younger years. I know if you try to sprint down the court right away, it's a failure. So definitely need to do that. And then the other thing I was gonna ask, I know a lot of Maine golfers speed training is huge right now. What can you tell us about speed training? And you know I've heard different things like it's maintaining the fast twitch muscles and you can't always necessarily build new ones. What's your thoughts on speed training and maybe some good exercises if that's something you're familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like speed, a big thing about speed is explosiveness. So I would say sprints are always going to be great. Any plyometric workouts, which is basically workouts where you're focusing on the explosion of specific movement. For example, like a dynamic lunge, right, where you're in lunge position and then you jump directly into the next leg into a lunge position, like
Okay.
do something like that. So those are always going to be the kind of workouts that you're looking to do to build those fast twitch muscles. You never really want to. A lot of people in the gym. Sorry, the cats are going crazy.
They sound like dogs over there. What kind of cats you got?
Just saying, I got the dog just sleeping underneath of me, so life is pretty.
Golly.
The difference
Killer
between dogs
cats.
and cats.
Yeah, so like to kind of keep going here. So with those plyometric workouts, you don't really want to do too much of them. It's more about focusing low amounts of reps or low amounts of sets and really focusing on the movement, the form, and the explosion. and that's really what helps build speed in the long run.
Nice, nice. And are you a
Interesting.
big fan of? Go ahead, Alice.
Well, just like super basic question. Like I feel like I hear this a lot, whether it's twitch muscles, I think is what you said, or I hear like activate the small muscles. Can you explain like what a small or twitch muscle is?
Yeah, so the difference between like there's the slow twitch muscle, so what those are, it's like when you're your typical weight training, like that's going to be your slow twitch muscles, and then the fast twitch muscles are what basically a football player is working on all the time, right? Like that explosiveness, like what gets you to get from a 5 yard sprint, like that amount of time, like how fast can you get there, right? Those are two completely different things that you're working on where when it's slow twitch versus fast twitch.
Okay.
So
Nice.
basically, think about when you're in the gym, it's all about just going slow and controlled, and you're doing like a
Yeah.
chest press, right? So that's slow twitch.
So if you're trying to generate speed, right? Because everybody's goal in the golf world is to generate more speed, move faster, gain more yardage. Obviously, that's all fast twitch, right? But I would say you probably don't always necessarily want to focus on just fast twitch, right? You probably want to focus like primarily on it, but you still want to build some of that slow. I don't want to say slow twitch, but that more consistent muscle too. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like having a good balance between the two is always going to be key because what you're going to get from like strength training in general, it's going to give you that solid base where you have muscle to just like protect your body, protect your posture. And that's always going to be key to I've always find it to be a foundation for everything.
Nice, nice, and we kind of see that a little bit with in the pro world. You got Bryson DeChambeau, right? He was a tall, skinny guy and just started hitting the muscle, and he put on. I mean, Alice, you might be able to speak more to this. He put on like 100 pounds of muscle, and then was starting to hit that thing like 375 yards, and it's obviously it's not sustainable long term to be that big in the golf world, but I think it definitely added distance long term to his swing.
Well, that's a good segue, Warren, because where you might be focusing on like office workouts, protecting the back, stretching, and maximizing that. I would say on the flip side, I'm lanky. I'm very flexible. I haven't like had too many back issues yet. But what I would be curious to understand, Kaleem, would be if I wanted to put on muscle. So talking more diet now. If I wanted to put on muscle and like get stronger, what maybe would you recommend I do?
Yeah, on a diet standpoint, I would always say the first thing that somebody needs to look at is whatever you need to know what your goal weight is, right? Let's just say you weigh 150 and you want to get to 180, right? So you need to be eating at least 1 gram to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of goal body weight, right?
Well,
So simply put,
let's say for example, I want to be 160.
okay.
Is that realistically manageable or achievable? Like how hard are we talking?
Well, how much do you weigh right now?
Yeah, 150, 155. That's kind of like where my resting weight is.
Okay, yeah. So I mean,
I
there's
was
so
sick
many
last week,
factors
so
that
I'm
go
like
into play,
150.
but key is definitely going to be that you probably want to eat 160 grams of protein, 160 to 170 grams of protein a day. And I would say mostly coming. I see that face, and I eat 250 grams
I'm
a
gonna get
day.
it.
So
I'm gonna get a sticky note here because I'm gonna write this
I'm trying to
down.
figure out how much protein is in beer right now to get to 160. How many of these do I have to drink?
He
Because I
said
put on the weight
protein, not
easily.
calories.
Oh, calories, protein. Ah, the science
Okay,
is hard.
so tell me that again. Protein recommendation is what?
you should probably be at 160 to 170 grams per
Holy.
day.
Okay,
And
okay.
you want to stick to whole foods. Obviously, you're going to have your protein shake here and there. If you're on the go, you'll have your protein bar as well, but whole foods is going to be key to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when
So
you say
no Big Macs in there, huh?
Probably, I mean, Ellis might be able to get away with it, but
well,
I would say stay away.
McDonald's partnership. We welcome McDonald's partnerships, so we don't want to trash them. When you say Whole Foods, you mean like instead of cheating and doing a protein shake and throwing like powder in there, that's not what you would call a whole food?
Yeah, technically a protein powder is not a whole food. When you're talking about whole food, you're talking about single ingredient, so
Fish,
chicken breast.
chicken. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the main thing you're saying, or what I'm hearing, is the consuming protein. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. And depending on where you're at, also, you probably want to be in a caloric surplus. What that means is eating a little bit more than you're actually burning. It all depends. But I would say the first step is getting to that protein goal every single day. And then the rest of what you're eating, once again, through whole foods. And the more you're working out, the more you're training, your metabolism's going to go up. You're going to get hungrier, and you're probably going to be wanting to eat more. And the more you start eating, you're going to probably slowly start to see you're putting on muscle. A little bit of fat will come with that as well. All depends on what kind of training you're doing, but that's definitely the first step, diet wise. And
Whoa.
strength training is going to be key to that.
So, okay, well, let's get into that. So, if I'm consuming the protein, how many calories did you say needs to accompany that? Roughly?
Um, yeah, so I would say if you're let me pull out my calculator here real
Yeah.
quick. So
You know, I'm
160.
going to take this challenge pretty seriously. So, if you're going to see me in 3 months, if you get this wrong, I might be like, so be careful.
Yeah, yeah, I would say you definitely there's a lot of ways to do it online to see exactly how many calories you should be at, but I would say most people should be generic 2000 calories a day is like kind of like a goal to start at. But
Okay,
once
that's easy.
again, I would say in most people, what I find working with clients is even when I work with clients who are overweight, they don't eat enough. You're talking about a guy who weighs 250 pounds who's eating 800 calories a day, and he's like, I don't
Still
even
not
eat, so
losing.
I don't know why I'm gaining weight. So it's all because the metabolism is just like not working. So I would
Okay.
say hit that protein, make that a non-negotiable, and then from there you start eating the rest in whole foods to the best of your capabilities, and that's going to slowly go up as you start working out and all that kind of stuff. So I would say definitely track your calories and see where you're
Okay.
at.
So, then my last question would be obviously, that's a ton of food. What then should I be doing daily so I don't just turn into like an Oompa Loompa from
Yeah,
an exercise
my
perspective?
Yeah, so to keep it simple, I would say key to get the metabolism going, one is going to be walking a lot, right? You want to do 10 to 15-minute walks, I recommend
Okay.
after every major meal, right? So breakfast, lunch, dinner, go for a 10 to 15-minute walk, right? If
Okay.
you can get more, great, but I would say when you split them up, that's great. And strength training. You don't have to go crazy, especially if you're a beginner. I would say 2 to 3 days a week of strength training is definitely a good start, and you want to focus on compound lifts, which I can go into that if you guys have more questions about that as well. And those are going to be key to like just building muscle and strength.
Is push ups or like, is that considered, or chin ups or whatever, pull ups, is that considered any kind of strength training or no?
Oh yeah, that definitely is. That's strength training for sure. But like you take it to the next level when you start adding weights and whatnot.
So I'd
So
need
yeah, push
weights. I
up.
don't have weights, so
You no,
you'd
you don't.
recommend
I
getting
wouldn't
some.
say in the beginning. I don't think you need weights. If you want to work out at home and start from home, I would say push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges. Those are a good start, but you're definitely gonna see more results once you start actually adding more resistance, which is gonna be
That's
through.
that's what we want, baby. We want results. Beach
I think
season.
one thing that was good to your point is, I whenever I start working out, a lot of times I try to watch what I eat, right? Start eating more salads and
Yeah.
lower the caloric intake. So I think it's really interesting and that
It's
you
almost
said
like
that
reverse.
okay, you wanna keep the calories up, otherwise the metabolism goes down, and obviously I assume that means energy, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would say once again, you definitely want to make sure you have a well-balanced diet. Pretty high in carbohydrate, not high, I would say medium in carbohydrates because that's going to give you a lot of the energy to work out. What the mistake a lot of people do right off the jump is they go into a deficit and you live in that deficit. And then what happens is, once again, the metabolism, and then you might even plateau a little bit quicker because you're in that deficit. So it's always, I would say, reverse diet, which would mean add more calories and then kind of go from there.
Now, if you're somebody that's trying, like, getting into this, right, just starting off, would you recommend workouts like in the morning, afternoon, like you don't have a set regimen? What's your opinion there?
My personal preference, if you ask me, it's always morning. The reason why I say morning for me, and I think you should work out whenever you can, like just in general. But my personal preference is morning, just because you guys are dads, right? You guys have full-time jobs. So as soon as 7, 8 o'clock comes, the kids are up, and then you got to go to work. Your day's gone. You're not
Oh,
done
yeah.
with work till 5, 6 o'clock. Then you drive back home. You're stuck in traffic, whatever the case might be. It's 7 o'clock. You don't want to go to the gym anymore, right? So it's all for me. It's always better wake up 4 or 5 in the morning, get it in before anybody's up, and then be back home and start getting ready for work, take care of the kids, and go from there. Because then after that, all the excuses for the day start coming up. So
Oh, I agree with you. It's easy to quit when you get home, right? You get home, you
yeah.
try to cook dinner, you try to wash up, you put the kids to bed. Next thing it's it's 8 o'clock, right? And here we are, and it's like, okay, do I want to relax or do I want to get a workout in and start sweating right before I go to bed? So, I think it's huge to be able to do it in the morning if you can. So, and the other question I had was, we see a lot of pros drinking protein shakes and things like that. Now, I'm your typical weekend golfer that's usually drinking beer, down the course or whatever my beverage is. But if you're wanting, if you're a golfer that's taking it seriously and you want to hydrate mid round, what's your recommendation there?
I would say any electrolyte packet is always going to be great. The popular one on the market right now is the LMNT packets, and those are great because I think just in general we don't drink enough water, and especially you're out on the course, it's sunny, it's hot, all sorts of things are going on. So yeah, I would say electrolytes are going to be huge.
Yeah, yeah, there's
Did
not a lot
what
of
did you?
electrolytes and fireball shots, I don't think.
It looks like there would be. It's like a Gatorade. What is that again? LMNT. What does that stand for?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it stands for, but that
Oh, okay.
is one of the better products out there nowadays, just because they're known for being very high quality, and their stuff not hurting your body. Because a lot of the other ones, like the liquid IVs and whatnot, they say they're not great, but
Is that
yeah.
just all sugar? Like what's the deal with liquid IV?
It's just sodium, and then
Oh,
they
okay.
have other minerals and fillers in there. So I believe LMNT is just a better product, so less ingredients.
Got it. Now,
Nice.
I did a Google. That made me sound old. I did a Google. It looks like your average. So, Kaleem, you can either ride in a golf cart, right? Kind of your average weekend golfer, or Warren and I like to carry our bag and walk 18 holes. So it looks like walking 18 at a moderate pace, 1,500 to 2,000 calories burned. So for some context in that activity, that's kind of like why we're saying is what can we do to replenish, midway through the round. Um, if I'm consuming or if I'm burning 2,000 calories, what realistically would I need to put in my body so I keep my energy level like the same as when I started?
And you're talking
Oh,
food wise, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, food or shake or like, what would you?
I would definitely say protein shakes are going to be on the top of my list, along with something easy like granola is always great. That's why like hikers are known for having nuts and granola on them at
Mm,
all times, because those are going to be high in like fats or carbohydrates as well, which is really what you're going to need when you are doing that. So like I would say granola is
cool.
a big one. Berries, those kind of anything with carbs is going to be great for you. If you're burning 2,000 calories on the course walking,
That's a
that's a
lot,
lot of
right?
calories. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. It seems like it.
Well, that's why you always plateau at hole 13. I would say most
Yeah.
golfers, hole 13 through 15, the energy starts going down and you got to grunt through those last couple holes. And I mean, I think that's huge to try to maintain that energy. So
I would, I
now,
would, I
say
would,
we
I
get
would,
through, go ahead.
I'm surprised that you guys haven't said that some of the golfers don't take like, the gel packets, the electrolyte gels that runners take. I'm
Oh
pretty sure
yeah.
that could be useful as well because those are going to have some of those have caffeine in them as well. So you're going to get some carbs, you're going to get caffeine in those. So for me, if I'm doing something like that, caffeine is key to my day. Caffeine and carbs.
Caffeine's key to all day for me, so I love it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now,
Now,
now, say
oh,
you finish like 18 holes, your body's wearing down, you're tired, you're getting done. What's something you should do at the end of every round, right? To kind of, most workouts have kind of like a toned down thing. What would be your recommendation there?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely do a stretch after something like that. Full body stretch. So basically go from the top to the bottom, stretching your neck, shoulders, because you guys use your shoulders a lot playing golf, right?
mhm.
Going to the quads, down to the hamstrings. I would say something almost like a borderline yoga flow kind of thing is what I would probably go for,
Oh,
but
I
not
think
as
it's huge
intense.
because, yeah, because I know we do trips every once in a while, right? We went to Pinehurst 2, 3, 4 years ago now, whatever that time frame is. And I remember playing the first round, and we're like, "Oh, we're good, good." We wake up the next morning, all of us look like 60-year-old men crawling out of bed, and I guarantee you, none of us were doing stretches at the end of it. So if you got a long trip planned, I think that's huge.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm the type of guy that's I'm at from the airport. I'm starting to stretch at the airport already, just getting ready for the plane ride. And I'm just always stretching because my body's always so tight. Like stretching is key, or else I'm just like I just feel tense. And I can
Yeah.
only imagine it's like I played soccer, so if I don't stretch after playing soccer or some kind of intense cardio, I'm definitely feeling it a lot more the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Kaleem, what do we need to do to get you into golf? What do we need to do to incentivize to get you out in the course? Because if we can get you going, you're our guy that can hit it 350 yards.
I would say just invite me to the next time you guys go out. Just say, hey, Kaleem, come out. I
Next
mean,
time we're in
I can't,
Nashville.
dude. I'll tell you right now, I suck. So it's gonna take a lot to get me going, but I'll come out and I'll have some fun and just see where I can go. I've been to Top Golf a few times and it's not pretty.
Sometimes that's nice because you don't have to chase or find your ball. I
Yeah,
I love it whenever we're out there this time of year. So it's a good time. We've learned, you can't take it too seriously. It's just as much fun being a 28 handicap as it is being a 6 handicap out in the course. So, I've never seen a 28 handicapper snap their clubs and throw them in the water. So I think it'll be a good time. So we'll have to see you in Nashville sometime.
for sure. I'm up for it.
That's
Nice.
right. Well, I took some notes. I think Warren. What do you think? Should I try the protein challenge, as I'll call it?
Let's do it. I want to see you put on 10 pounds. Well,
Well,
how long should
okay.
that take? If he wants to put on 10 pounds,
Yeah,
how much
yeah.
should
What
that
kind of
take?
realistically we looking at?
Man, I mean, I would say that should just be a rule of life. So you should just never stop eating that much protein.
Oh,
Now, what time frame, if he's trying to put on 10 pounds of muscle, and eating the calories found, the grams, protein, how long should that take?
I mean, I would have to pull out the calculator for that one and kind of just
well,
run
what do
it
you
all and
think?
see
Like
how
three
long it.
months, 6 months, a year?
I want to see it by 4th of July.
That's probably more realistic.
Okay, July. So it's March. So April, May, June, July. So 4 months, 10 pounds, 4 months.
Yeah, I think that's probably realistic. 10 pounds. If you're looking for
Oh yeah,
10 pounds of
10 pounds, 4
just
months. Yeah.
of yeah, I think that's doable for sure. I mean, it could be done a lot faster, but it's about like doing it realistically in a way that's actually healthy and sustainable. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think setting modest goals is good. I remember in the past I've
Yeah.
tried to set lofty goals of gaining 30 pounds of muscle and in 6 months, and it's just you've set
Yeah.
yourself up for failure, right?
Yeah, I mean, 30 pounds of muscle is no joke. That's a lot of muscle to be gaining. Especially if you're somebody who has the muscle memory and has had that kind of muscle on you before and lost it, that's going to be easy to gain. But for somebody who's never had, like, let's just say you're like Ellis, for you, for example, right? You want to go up 10 pounds of muscle. It's going to be harder for you to go up 10 pounds of muscle than it would be for me to go up 10 pounds if I were to drop down to your weight. I would gain that like this.
Hmm.
Interesting. What's one thing do you think I'll experience? So it's like I'll go to Whole Foods tomorrow. I get all the fish and chicken. How is my body gonna feel in like the next couple days, like to a week? Or would you recommend instead of going 160 grams of protein, like stack up to it, like 70, then 90, or would just go for it?
I would say just go for it, and then the rest of the calories you just eat whatever it is that you can eat until you start being getting more hungry as you start working out and being more active and whatnot. I would say that's just going to be a non-negotiable.
Oh
I would
man.
build
All
up in
right.
the rest with the fat and carbs and make that protein just non-negotiable.
All right.
you'll
Okay, so I
find
think I
that you're going to
got.
be you'll find that you'll probably be less hungry through the day. You're probably going to crave less carbs like sugary foods, just like processed like candy, cake, ice cream, those kinds of things, just because you're it's going to satiate you a lot more.
Because if I want to actually get to 160 grams of protein, like I can't afford to eat fatty crap food because then I'm not going to have any in the tank, right? Or space in the tank.
Technically, it all depends on how much calories you're actually aiming to eat. But yeah, for a lot of, for example, if you're in a deficit like me, for example, let's just say I decide I want to cut now, and I go down on a deficit, and I say, okay, I eat 2,700 calories a day. So if I say, okay, I'm going to go down to 2,000, I definitely have no room for error. It's just going to be all clean because if I eat an ice cream, I mean, I'm done. Like, I can't eat for the rest of the
Wow.
day.
Alice is just sitting there thinking 2,000 calories in a day.
Yeah, I'm trying to like add up. Now, I mean, I can go to
Healthy
McDonald's and
calories.
yeah, that's what I mean. I can go to McDonald's and like put back some double cheeseburgers, but I won't have any space for like chicken or fish later. So I don't think I can. All right, Warren, I got my goal. What do you want to focus on? If we have clean back in 3 months, what are you going to focus on for the next couple months?
Nice. I don't have a lot of intuition to put on a lot of heavy muscle. Mine's just I'm at about 215, 220 right now. My ideal weight would be 205. But at the same time, just clean it up. It's doing the workouts in the office and trying to do that stretching to gain a little bit of flexibility because I think I can gain some yards there, and then just cleaning up eating. There's too much, about my day, right? I had a dentist appointment today, and the lady's giving me crap for going. Well, yeah, I ate about 6 bags of chewy candy over the last 2 weeks. It ain't real good for the health. So, goal over the next really 2 months, right before full on golf season starts, cleaning up the appetite, try to drop about 10 pounds, and keep meeting some calorie goals. I watch my phone. If you don't have a watch, sometimes I think I would implore a lot of people to do it because starting to realize that I only burn 500, 600 calories a day from walking around. Like that's bad. You should really be burning 1,000, 1,500 calories a day. So trying to clean things up.
All right. Now, just to like add on that, then should I be looking if I'm looking to add? Should I really be focusing on burning calories or not really focus on that? Just like strength more, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say your focus should. For me, it's never about like counting how much calories you're burning. That's like not really what I go for. It's just about more activity, just in general. I think for you, you shouldn't focus on necessarily burning calories, but like you said, strength training, and eating that protein is going to be key for you.
Okay.
And I mean, I always say, rule of thumb, get the steps in, like 10,000 to 15,000 steps a day. You're going to be in a pretty good spot.
I might need to pace a little more.
I think you're right. I liked what you said earlier about doing steps after every meal. Get up and eat breakfast. Do 5-10 minutes. Eat lunch 5-10 minutes. Lunch or dinner 5-10 minutes, just to get your body moving.
Yeah, and I always say I talk to a lot of guys about it, and I tell them a lot of times too, you don't have that much time with your spouse on a busy week. So if you add those 15-minute walks after breakfast and after dinner, like that's a great 15 minutes to have with your wife or girlfriend and just talk about life and what's going on away from the
Yeah.
kids. So
Yep.
on top of getting some steps in, you're getting a good conversation and staying in tune with the lady.
And
Hey,
leaving the
there we
phone at
go.
home. I like it.
Relationship advice as well. The full packing. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll kind of close us out here. We've got a golf tournament coming up this week, the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Kaleem, I'm sure you'll be locked in. But Warren, he'll be getting his steps in. Warren, who's your pick for this week?
Oh man, I've been terrible at this so far. You know, I watched ESPN. I've watched ESPN, and I was like, these clowns don't know who the heck they're picking. And now I've picked for the last 3 weeks, and I haven't even been close. So, I'm going with the Swede this week, Ludwig. Tall, had a couple weeks rest and relaxation. Course sets up for him well. Distance is key. I'm liking him right now.
All right. Well, you know who's got 2 red cardigans. And Kaleem, if you win this tournament this weekend in Florida, they give the winner like a red kind of cardigan in honor of Arnold Palmer. Rory McIlroy has 2 red cardigans. He's going to add a 3rd to his closet this week. It's a beautiful closet of red. So I think Rory gets it done.
Is there any green in that closet?
Not yet, but we'll see for sure. So, well, Kaleem, thanks for coming on. We will have you back.
Thanks, Kaleem.
Hopefully Ellis is 10 pounds of muscle, not just McDonald's. And maybe Warren is a little leaner and meaner.
205, baby. Let's go.
All right.
Hey guys,
well, thanks, everybody.
I'm excited. Thank you guys for having me on.
Awesome. Well, we'll see everybody next week.